Imagine a high-stakes game of chess where the players are redrawing the board mid-match to tilt the odds in their favor. That's the dramatic reality unfolding in North Carolina's political landscape, and it could reshape the future of American democracy. North Carolina's Republican leaders have just unveiled their intention to overhaul the state's congressional map, part of a sweeping, unprecedented redistricting push across the nation designed to bolster their slim edge in the U.S. House of Representatives before the upcoming midterm elections in 2026. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this a strategic defense of voter mandates or a blatant power grab that undermines fair representation? Let's break this down for those new to the concept. Redistricting, at its core, is the process of adjusting the boundaries of congressional districts every 10 years after the national census to ensure each district has roughly the same population. It's meant to reflect demographic shifts and keep elections fair. However, when it happens mid-decade, outside the usual cycle, it raises eyebrows because it's not driven by population changes, but by political motives. In this case, North Carolina Republicans are pushing ahead with this unusual move, inspired by similar efforts in other states, to potentially secure an extra seat for their party. According to North Carolina House Speaker Destin Hall, the push is a direct response to what they see as a strong endorsement from voters nationwide. He stated in an official release that President Trump secured a decisive victory from the electorate in North Carolina and beyond. And we're committed to upholding that by creating one more Republican-held congressional district. For the full context, check out the original statement here, https://burgerpress.medium.com/General Assembly heeds President Trump's call to thwart blue state attempts to take Congress 4 CECD 10 F5582. This would shift the current balance, where Republicans hold 10 seats to Democrats 4, by effectively splitting a Democratic-leaning urban area across multiple districts, a tactic reminiscent of how they handled Asheville in previous redistricting rounds, diluting its voting power. You can read more about similar, crazy-looking districts in this NBC News piece, https://nbcnews.com, politics, elections. They are still drawing crazy-looking districts. Can 80351. This practice, known as gerrymandering, involves crafting oddly shaped districts to favor one party. Think of it as sculpting electoral boundaries, like a sculptor molds clay to create a desired outcome, often prioritizing political advantage over geographic logic. North Carolina's Republican legislative heads plan to convene soon, possibly next week, to debate and potentially approve this new map. Importantly, Democratic Governor Josh Stein lacks the authority to veto these changes, leaving the GOP legislature with significant leeway. And this is the part most people miss. This isn't an isolated event. It's the latest chapter in a nationwide, mid-cycle redistricting saga that's breaking from tradition. The trend kicked off in Texas, where former President Trump urged Republicans to revise their map, potentially adding up to 5 House seats to their tally. In response, California's Democratic governor, Gavin Newsom, and his party's lawmakers countered by proposing their own lines to counteract Texas's gains. California's plan, however, awaits voter approval in an upcoming ballot measure. As State Senate Leader Phil Berger put it, "We're taking every step to safeguard President Trump's priorities, ensuring GOP dominance in Congress." Building on Texas's lead, we'll vote in our October session to revise North Carolina's districts, preventing Gavin Newsom from influencing the House majority. Unsurprisingly, North Carolina Democrats voiced strong opposition right away. In a social media update on X, formerly Twitter, the North Carolina Democratic Party blasted the move, saying, "If proof was needed that the NC GOP will go to any lengths for Trump's nod and to cling to power, here's the evidence. They're set to manipulate our maps through gerrymandering." See the original post, https://ncdemparty/status 1978209-422. This highlights the partisan divide. One side sees it as protecting a presidential mandate, while the other views it as undemocratic tinkering. The ripple effects extend beyond North Carolina. Missouri's legislature recently enacted a revised congressional map last month, targeting Democratic Representative Emanuel Cleaver's district in Kansas City. Critics are now collecting signatures for a referendum to let voters decide its fate. Learn more in this NBC News article. https://www.nbcnews.com/politics/new Republican drawn congressional map Missouri faces possible referendum RCNA 23455. Over in Ohio, Republicans are opting out of talks with Democrats on their bipartisan redistricting panel, likely leading to even more GOP-friendly boundaries. Meanwhile, states like Indiana, Kansas, Florida, and Maryland are exploring their own mid-decade adjustments, turning what was once a routine process into a contentious battleground. This wave of redistricting could profoundly impact elections, potentially amplifying one party's influence while silencing others. For beginners, consider this example. Splitting a city like Asheville across districts is like dividing a neighborhood of like-minded voters into multiple groups, diluting their collective voice in a way that might favor the opposing side. It's a reminder that while redistricting aims for fair representation, it can sometimes become a tool for manipulation, sparking debates about whether such moves strengthen democracy or erode it. So, what's your take? Is this a necessary safeguard against perceived threats to Republican control, or does it risk turning elections into a rigged game? Could this set a dangerous precedent for future mid-cycle changes, or is it a smart adaptation to a shifting political landscape? Do you support the Democrats' view that it's pure power politics, or do you see it as defending a legitimate mandate? Share your opinions, agreements, or disagreements in the comments. Let's dig deeper into this pivotal moment in American politics. Jane C. Tim is a senior reporter for NBC News, bringing insightful coverage to these evolving stories.